Good morning. It is 8:30 in the morning. It's already 26.5 degrees in here, and I've opened the doors and put the fan on, and it's 23.3 degrees outside, so it's really warmed up and it's absolutely lovely. So I thought I'd get everything watered in here, and what I want to do today is before it gets even hotter, I'm going to do some of the outside weeding. I have decided that I'm probably going to scale down a bit this year and grow more in the polytunnel, just because I have huge success in the polytunnel for various reasons. It's a more controlled environment-ish. With the heat, not so much, but I can put shade netting on and I have the fan. So I do find that there's less pests in here, closed up at night, so the slugs, I'll get a few, but not like the decimation that happens outside. And then just slowly keep chipping away at those beds outside. But I'm going to grow more in here this year, so in the beds and in tubs and pots, and that's the plan. Because when I started out my first year here, I only grew in the polytunnel, and it was really satisfying, and we did get some produce. So this year I'm going for enjoyment and quality over quantity, while I get control of those outside beds and paths again. So that's the plan. So everything's had a good watering. Now, a little update on some of my germination. Quite a lot of people in the comments had said they'd also had germination issues this year, and some people are blaming the compost, and other people thinking about, I say blame, considering, is it the compost, is it the weather conditions? Now, apart from the fact that I've changed the silver grow, I haven't changed anything else. And my first batch of seeds a lot of the seeds that have germinated well are all still out of this same bag. So I personally can't blame the compost. I just think it's the fluctuations in temperature. But it's kind of no different from normal. However, sometimes if you just sit a bit patiently, so the Greek gigantes are now starting to germinate, as are the Crown Prince squash. So they are coming, and I've got quite a lot on these dwarf French bean tender green as well. So sometimes just sit tight and they'll come. I've had a little poke about in some of the other courgette seeds, and they are still just sitting there, so that could have been the seeds, but I'll leave them. But the alderman peas are up, so I think it was just that temperature fluctuation. So although I'm saying that we've got 26.4 here, it's been going up to 40 degrees in here during the day, but I haven't had both doors open or the fan on, and I will also water the floor later, and that helps to just keep the temperature to a more even level. But it's also been, last night was down to 9 degrees out and in, roughly 9 point something in and out. So that's still quite a fluctuation in temperature. And one of the things that I've done, and I'm feeling quite bad about, was I put that aloe vera plant in here. I should have taken it into the house, and it's not looking great. So that's going to need some serious attention later, not now. So what I want to do is get outside before it gets too hot and crack on out there, and I'm also going to sit down and make some proper lists and think about what I'm sowing into these beds, which of these plants will also go into these beds, and what's going to go outside. So I will have to kind of cram things in a bit and have them a little bit closer than is ideal, but that's what we're going to do this year, and we'll see how things fare. And one of the things that you'll very, very rarely see me with are forks or spades, so long handled tools, because it's generally no dig, and I use my hand tools. But this bed here has got so far away from me that it's just going to be a bit too much, I think, to do with hand tools. So my plan is I'm going to loosen everything up with this fork, just to give me a bit of a head start. So I'm just literally going to pop it in and loosen it up, I might give it a good water actually, because things are starting to dry. We haven't had rain for a couple of days, which is lovely for getting out and doing things and swimming and pottering on the farm, but not so great for the garden. So I mean, that's going to come. So that's the plan anyway, is to loosen everything up with that fork. But I'm going to give everything a good water first, and then I'm going to push on. Okay, so I have come in for a little breather and to have some water because it's really warm out there. And one of the things I'm finding with my mental health not being good, that I'm also getting really fatigued very quickly, and I'm sure some of you out there can relate to that. So it's lovely to be getting on with this, and my plan is working by loosening up with that big fork first and then going in with a hand fork. And then you'll have seen any really big bits I'm just putting straight into the wheelbarrow. It's pointless filling up the truck and then having to cart that back and forth. And I've been thinking as I go, let me just have another drink. And I think what I'm going to do, because I don't want to become one of those channels that, you know, if you're new to my channel, you'll think that this is the way I garden, and it really isn't. So I don't want to be one of those channels that's constantly making excuses and showing you a mess, and then another couple of weeks later showing you another mess. Because if I'm honest, it's breaking my heart to see my plot looking like this. And I'll just put some pictures actually, or some footage now of my plot literally 12 months ago. You know, it's been lovely and I've really looked after it, but it has just been a result of my poor mental health, and it's such a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, to come out and get things done in the garden really helps my mental health, but it'd been so low, and also work had been consuming so much time that yeah, it was just that, oh, you know, if I come out and get it done, it'll make me feel good, but I haven't got the energy or the mental capacity to deal with it. So I'm very aware that, you know, I have had little days where I've sat and cried about it, but I have some plans. So I think what I'm going to do, looking at the root structure and what's going on there, is I'm going to continue with this method that I'm using, and it's not going to happen. You know, this is something I'd have just cleared in a day easily, or in a day, in a couple of hours, you know. but it's going to take me longer than that. So what I'm going to do is just keep chipping away at that, and then I am actually going to go back to my no dig method, where I'm going to lay down the cardboard and I'm going to top dress with compost. So that's the plan. I'm going to slowly chip away at these outdoor beds, and I'm going to grow an awful lot more in the polytunnel. And yeah, I'm just going to keep chipping away. So let me know, what's the weather doing where you are? It's looking quite overcast now. I think we might get some rain. And actually, I would celebrate that at the moment, because it'll really help to soften up the soil and help me get those weeds up. I've got an awful lot of cardboard boxes, so I'm ready to, they're already split down. They just need the tape peeling off. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Go back to basics out here, grow as much as I can in the polytunnel. I want the flower bed to look decent, and I'm doing quite well with that. And there are some strawberries and raspberries out here, the chives, the new curry plant and the Welsh onions. So I've got a bit going on out here, but I'm just going to start, I think, from scratch again and build it back up, and that's the plan. So what I'm going to do, so I feel like I'm doing something really positive, is I'm going to potter about in here. I'm going to direct sow some seeds, and I'll probably start putting some of these plants into the beds. So some of them are always planned to be in here, like the beans up the bean arches, but I'll have a little look and see what else I can get in, just to get things going. So I've got some parsnips, some romaine lettuce, some land American cress, some perpetual spinach, a selection of carrots and beetroot, and I'm just going to sow a few into various places. I'm going to have a little bit of a reshuffle. And then the other thing I'm going to do is, I just had a couple of sweet peas left, and it seems really silly to waste them. So I've got a little pot and some canes. I've put a little bit of extra, because it's spent compost, I've put a little bit of the silver grow, because I'm down to the last of that bag now. I've only got a tiny bit left. And I've got some chicken poop pellets. I've put a few of those in as well. And I'm going to put some chicken poop pellets into the beds, for those beds that I'm not growing root vegetables in, because they don't like nutrient rich. So I might, I've often grown root vegetables in this nice tall bed, so I won't put anything extra into that. So I'm going to get these sweet peas in, I'm going to get some stuff, I'm going to do a bit of a reshuffle and start planting a few things into these beds. I've given these beds a good water. This little tub here, I think you can see, and the big long bed, but I need to give that water some time to soak in. So I'm just going to arrange and think about what plants are going where. I've put the sweet peas in and given them something to climb up, and I've given the alderman peas that are over here that I put in the other day that were a bit floppy a little bit of string to get them going. So we're really making progress. So I have sown two varieties of beetroot, some lettuce. I've put in here, and I know they're close together, but I've put some peppermint chard, some lucullis chard, which I know gets really big, but I'm just going to trim it and eat it baby. Some yellow chard. At the back there, and this is a massive gamble, is a summer purple sprouting broccoli. Now I know they get huge, but I'm growing it in here, with a small kale in front. And I've put some of the tiny baby leek in here and some onions in here. Now then, I've put a cucumber here and a cucumber here, and I will explain why. So I normally grow my beans up over these arches, but of course I've gone and put some alliums in here, and beans and alliums do not grow well together. So I've put the cucumbers in this side, and then I can grow beans. Now I do have some dwarf varieties, but I can grow my climbing varieties up this side so they're not sharing the same bed, and then I can put some of the dwarf beans in and various other bits and pieces. So let's just have a little walk around. That's those couple of sweet peas in there. There's a couple of tubs with the potatoes. I've popped a courgette into that pot. That's one of the round varieties. And I've sown some land American cress into that tub. I've got carrots and parsnips in here. At the back there's some dwarf bean, tender green, just 2 plants there. So there's still some space there for something. And I've popped in here, oh, let's just prop you up. They got a bit floppy, you know how they do when you first plant things, they have a bit of a sulk. So they are the purple peacock beans. The peas, which are my first sowing, I've got some more. They are alderman, and I've just given them a bit of support with some string to get them going. I've popped the Madeira maroon beans in here. I've already shown you what I've done in this bed, and I've sown some perpetual spinach in here. And then up here I've just got either things that are waiting to germinate or seedlings, including my tomatoes, and I will tackle those another day. So it's absolutely perfect weather to get out and have a swim. I had a lovely swim the other day. It was quite busy, but I managed to find myself a little quiet spot. Thank you so much for watching. I'll leave you with some footage for those of you that like to see the wild swimming. And if you were only here for the gardening, you can switch off now. But thank you everyone for supporting me. Thank you for watching. If you're new to my channel and you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Or even if you're not new to my channel but you haven't already subscribed, please do consider subscribing and hit that bell so you get notifications of all my latest videos. And I'm managing again now to upload regular content on Wednesdays, usually sometime in the afternoon.